As technology marches on, we need more and more space to store our data, and especially our graphical images, our pictures, which take up a tremendous amount of space. So, removable drives have become very popular. The advantages that they offer are that they increase the overall storage capacity of a system. They make it easy to move large files from one computer to another. They serve as a convenient medium for making backups of hard drive data, and they make it easy to secure important files, since we can take the drive out and store it behind lock and key physically. The parts that make up removable drive systems can be external or internal. In other words, there's an internal component to removable drive systems that we can install into a computer. We'll take a look at some of these drives. There are many different types of removable drives. There's a 3.5-inch zip drive by iOmega, a SuperDisk LS120 drive by iMation, and a removable hard drive by iOmega, or again by iOmega, called the Jazz drive. Let's take a closer look at some of these. The zip drive stores 100 megabytes to 250 megabytes of data on one disk that isn't much larger, really, than a 1.44 megabyte floppy disk. The internal component costs less than $100, and it uses an IDE interface. There are also external zip drives that plug into a port on the back of the computer. The disks themselves can be purchased at any computer store, and again can store 100 megabytes to 250 megabytes of data. So even the smallest zip drives can store roughly 70 times what a floppy disk can store. For added convenience, the SuperDisk, made by iMation, holds 120 megabytes of data, but it's backward compatible with the floppy disk. In other words, a SuperDisk drive is designed so that it can hold a 120 megabyte SuperDisk, but it can also hold and read and write to a 1.44 megabyte or even a 720K floppy disk. This is a tremendous advantage as long as you have the additional computer with the SuperDisk. In other words, if we have data stored on a SuperDisk, then we would have to find another computer with a SuperDisk in order to read that data. If we have many computers and they all have SuperDisk, then that would be a tremendous advantage. The advantage that zip disks have over SuperDisk at this point is that they got a quicker following. But SuperDisk is a great idea, especially for laptops, in which we're limited in the number of drives that we can have just because of the physical limitations of the laptop. In this case, on a laptop, if we used a SuperDisk, we could have a floppy disk and a 120 megabyte disk all in one laptop. SuperDisks are also very fast, up to 27 times faster than a regular floppy drive, which means they can move a lot of information very quickly. And they can be purchased as either external or as internal for about $150. The last type of removable drive that we're going to talk about is the Jazz drive. Jazz drives are also made by iOmega and store 1 gigabyte to 2 gigabytes of data. There are both internal and external models, and they usually use a SCSI connection. Jazz drives are also called removable hard disks because they store so much data. So in summary, in this section of this chapter, we talked about data storage on a floppy disk, management of data stored on the floppy disk, installing a floppy disk drive on a PC, the prevalence and popularity of floppy drives, which are because of easy convenience and ready availability. Like I said, you could probably find some right around you right now if you take a look around. The low cost of the disks, proven usefulness and dependability, how the operating system logically views the data stored on the floppy disk, and then removable drives. So next, we're going to switch gears and talk about hard drives.